I'm always working on episodes and I'm analyzing these people as if they were characters, as if they were being played by actors. Would I believe them to be credible? Would I not believe them to be credible? That's what I'm talking about. So the lessons that acting teaches you could have been in favor of Tyler Perry. Tyler Perry, Medea, bravo, Meghan, bravo, Harry. People are crediting King Charles with playing subtle in the way that he's responding to the conniving Meghan and Harry. Snaking your way in, we would look at those characters and we would see them as hypocrites. Public solitude, going back to the teddy bear of King Charles. My safety blanket is the same as the teddy bear for King Charles. Hello, everyone. This is Mihaela with Art of Experiencing. Hello, this is the weekend of the Oscars. Spring is here, which is really wonderful. I'm looking forward to great weather. I'm optimistic to great opportunities. The one video that I have on the playlist on my YouTube channel that got the most notice was when I called some so-called actors B-listers, and I did not call them actors. It wasn't coming from a negative place. It wasn't coming from a place of, oh, I know better than everybody else. It wasn't about that. In my opinion, will diminish the work, the process from the great actors. When you title B-listers actors, it will take away from the great actors. Those great actors who are going to be presented and were nominated for the Oscar 2023 have done the work. They are doing the work. What do I mean when I say the actors do the work? The actors do the work subconsciously or consciously, using method acting, using the Meisner technique, using Stella Adler, using Grotowski, using technique they come up with. It doesn't matter what it is. Lee Strasberg, the man who adapted the method from Stanislavski's system, he said that if an actor doesn't need to use any acting techniques, they don't have to. Actors don't have to use techniques if they can just go on stage or in front of cameras and can create reality out of those given circumstances by using their senses. If they can respond with their senses in a real credible way, specific, so it becomes universal without using any kind of techniques, then they shall do so. They can very well do so. They do not have to depend on a technique, on method, on Meisner, on Stella Adler, on Stanislavski. The acting methods were written, compiled by such great man as Strasberg at the Actor Studio, who was the artistic director forever until he passed, or by Stanislavski, who was the first one to come up with a system, a book for actors so they can rely on during those times when they did not feel that they were responding to the given circumstances, to the fictional circumstances in a real and credible way using their senses. So I just want to make sure that people don't misunderstand by thinking that I'm putting down those people whom I decide not to call actors. I'm not putting them down. I'm saying actors, they do the work. To do the work means that you have to earn the character which you are portraying, earn the lines the script gives you. Doing the work means that you have to leave a part of yourself on the stage, on the set, interpreting a character when you are portraying a character. It means that you give it all. It means that you tap into your personal experiences, merge them with the imaginary experiences to be able to create not only a believable, credible, real character, but you have to do it justice. You have to do it justice by going out of your comfort, tap into different personalities that you might have, which might be just the right fit for those characters. The characters that you are portraying sometimes may be greater than the feeling that you have about yourself. That means that you have to find where that greatness resides within you. You can't just say, I'm going to play the character without the greatness that he or she possesses because I am afraid of going there myself. No, it is requiring of you to be able to tap into it, figure out where that greatness is inside of you. Even if you have fear about finding it, even if you feel like you do not possess the greatness that the character is asking for you to bring up, you must go in and search for it. So when I make the difference between B-listers or great actors, that is where the difference is. Everybody talks about Meghan Markle. She was an actress on this cable show. She was not an actress on a cable show. She was a B-lister on a cable show. It has to do with the fact that her interpreting that character has nothing to do with what great acting demands of actors to do. I believe great actors that I was talking about and many others that I cannot remember right now, having to look and search and find the greatness inside of you that I was talking about, that you must lend to the character you're portraying. I believe, this is just my opinion, as all my episodes are opinions and interpretation from my acting perspective on how I understand human behavior and characters. I believe that the acting work will give you the opportunity as a person to know and decide what the difference is between being great and being bad, not just in acting, but as a human being. I think that acting teaches how to also choose characters to be known for as people. They can be people with character or they can be people without character. In the case of Meghan Markle, who is working from a method of sneaking around to confuse everyone because she doesn't stand for anything. You can't, as a character or as a human with character, say that you're standing for something, but then your actions will show the opposite of what you say you're standing for. The royal family was doing all these horrible things to you. Then you come a couple of days ago and you announce that your children are going to be titled prince and princess. If you cannot stand for an organization, for an institution, as her and Harry like to call it, their actions to be completely the opposite of what their verbal vomit has been for so long, it makes no sense. You have to look at those characters. If they were to do exactly the same thing as great actors portraying those characters with the same, I'm going to say that I believe in something, but then my actions are going to show the opposite. We would look at those characters as the audience, or I would look at those characters as an acting coach, and I would analyze them to be hypocrites. I would analyze them to be liars. I would analyze them to stand for nothing, no matter how much in words they're saying they're these doers of good in our world. Why do we take them seriously? But then if they were characters in a script, we would be able to say they're lying, they are hypocrites. It doesn't make sense. Characters will teach us how to be able to analyze people in everyday life. That's where the magic of acting is. In real life, I can look at a situation, I can look at people, I can observe understanding of those people's comportment, of those people's situations, of those people's relations with me or with other. I can see the details where the words and the action are conflicting. I would have the understanding to say, oh, this is what these characters are about. These characters are hypocrites. They're saying one thing and they're doing other things. So if great acting doesn't allow for people to be without character, I'm going to play this character without character. I'm going to play this character to be a very moderate human being, because that's what I, as an actor, feel comfortable with. That's what I feel about myself. Therefore, that's what I'm going to bring to the character. No, you cannot judge the characters. You have to search between the lines. You have to go in between pages that were not written. You have to go in the moment before the play or the script begins. You have to go after the play was finished, after the script was finished, and you have to continue to do the searching of who these characters are, because they are more than just the one-dimensional, uninteresting, without charm. You might feel at first you want to portray them as, because that's the easiest for you to do. What else is there when you're trying to get to the heart and to the soul of those characters? Fictional characters will have something in a private moment where they're by themselves and they have a conversation with themselves or with God or with a higher power or whatever they believe in, where they will realize their mistakes. They will realize their hypocrisy. They will realize their characterless behavior. And they will maybe apologize for it to another character. Maybe they will apologize to God in their own privacy without having anybody there. So those fictional characters are required to be three-dimensional. They're required to have more than just one or two personalities. None of us are just one or two personalities. We're so much more. We are so complex. So when you see people in real life, such as people as Harry and Meghan, announcing the titles of prince and princess for their children, and this has nothing to do with their children, when they're making the statements that they've made for so many years about the royal family being all the negative that you can think of, damaging, they don't want any part of it. Tyler Perry supposedly was the godfather to the child, to the daughter. He's the one that was already assuming in the Netflix series, taking the version of what Harry and Meghan was telling him about the royal family, for him to accept it without doing any kind of detailed detective work, which we would do as actors, as great actors. They have to do all the detailed work. You can't just take what characters say and believe it. That means you're taking the lazy way out of trying to understand the characters and trying to understand what they're saying about the rest of the characters. You have to do the work. With him, he wasn't doing the work, and he came on the Netflix series to say, oh yes, I take them into my house and I'm going to be the godfather. This was a few months ago, whenever the Netflix documentary came. I'm going to be the godfather, but if I have to go back to that country, I don't want to go back to that country, referring to England, referring to United Kingdom, referring to the royal family as being something that Meghan and Harry were implying they are racist. When the book came out, Spare of Prince Harry, for him to take that back and to say, but my wife never said anything about the royal family. We never said the royal family was racist. That's too late, because already Tyler Perry did not do the work. If he were a character in a play, if he were a character in a script, he should know better, because he's made his living and he's become successful out of doing just that. He has a production company. He's become famous doing work on stage. He took that to be what informed him about the royal family without doing the research. So now when Prince Harry and Meghan not so much, but Prince Harry in the interview to promote his book said, but my wife never said that about the royal family. Well, how are you going to take that back? Tyler Perry, how are you going to take that back? Because you already said, I'm not going to that country. If I have to go to that country to do the baptism, I don't think I want to go there or something. I don't know exactly. I'm paraphrasing because I don't remember everything. So if I'm wrong with some of the things that I'm talking about, these are just my observations. These are just my opinions from what I remember being said. I'm paraphrasing. If he would have understood acting greatly, which I believe he did not, because if he would have understood that, there's a lesson that you can take from acting greatly, and you can use it in everyday life. When Meghan and Harry were talking about the royals being racist, let me do my detective work. Let me find out what the other characters say about these two characters. Because as great actors, you have to do that. You can't just take what the lines are saying that your character you're playing is saying to be the whole truth and nothing but the truth. In acting, it is so important, sometimes more important, to look at what the other characters are saying about your character, because your character you're portraying could be lying like these two are. So I don't understand why Tyler Perry was not doing that detective work with his background in acting. I mean, he did acting, he does acting. He produces shows. You would think that he would know to not just jump and just say things just because somebody else is saying those things. How is it that actors who act greatly are required to be more of a human being than people in everyday life to be credible? That's what it is. They are credible, contradicting from day to day what they're saying with what they're doing. I'm talking about Harry and Meghan as people. If they were characters, those characters have to really give explanations, take themselves seriously. They're applauded in real life for being hypocrites. Fictional characters played by great actors are not applauded for being hypocrites. They actually have to explain themselves. They're asked to explain themselves. And then when it comes to the royal family, when it comes to King Charles, I don't understand all of these tactics that people are crediting him with. I don't think he's doing that, playing the moves of chess. Because with these two, that's what you must do. If these two, again, were characters in a play, the tactics that King Charles, if he were a character, would take with them after all these years of them proving themselves, they are hypocrites and liars, that King Charles character, he would have to respond in a different way, because he would have to take into consideration who is more important. Is it more important to keep them and allow them to snake their way with all these fabricated stories they come up with? Are they the most important right now? Or is he having to be more loyal to the people who are supporting him, to the people who are supporting the royal family? Oh, this is about family. It's about a father. Like many of them say, this is about him being a father. So of course he's going to want to be nice to his son, trying to bring his son back. This is more than that. If the character you are playing as an actor is King Charles, you have to make the distinction between what is the most important thing, who is giving you the most support to be able to go on with the monarchy, who has been showing you support. Are you going to go against the majority of the people who support the royal family because you as a father are being supportive of your son who's putting you down, who's talking about the most private moments? Which, by the way, going back to a private moment, I just remembered about one of the things that were said in the book. I don't know exactly, because I haven't read the entire book of Harry. He went so far as to actually talk about his father, King Charles. Harry was talking about his father, King Charles, how even at this age, he is sleeping with a teddy bear. That is such a private moment that actors must come with those private moments. That's actually an artistic private moment that I do with the actors that I work with in sessions, where we will come up with a private moment, something that the character would do, beginning with something that you as the actor, you as the person would do, and do it in a way that if somebody walked into the room, you would adjust the way you go about it. And I remember years ago, I had this great actor I was working with in one of my classes. He came into the session, he came into the class. I will never remember people's faces after many years. There's so many students, actors, artists I've worked with, but I will always remember moments of their work when they were transformative, when they were powerful. There was this great, wonderful actor, musical theater actor, who came in, he came to do a private moment. And what he did is he set up blankets on the floor as if he was in his own bedroom, because you have to start with the senses. Where would you feel the most comfortable to be able to then allow yourself to bring in something in front of people watching you that is so private to you that you haven't even maybe shared it with your loved ones. As actors, sometimes you have to share more in an environment where you feel safe, in a creative environment, then you probably have to with your loved ones in your everyday life that you are the closest to. So I remember he came in and he brought a blanket, he brought a pillow from home, and he set it up on stage as if he were the bedroom at his home. And then we were watching it first. We said, okay, so he's creating his bedroom. That was really wonderful. There was the senses, going back to the senses, going back to how you create the physical place. You bring something from your personal life so your brain can concentrate on that, so you don't have to pay attention to, oh my goodness, there's going to be people watching and I'm going to show them something that's so private and so intimate that I haven't even showed people in my life, in my everyday life. After he created the space, the physical place, he put those objects, the blanket, the pillow, and then he started to bring these little dolls and teddy bears, all of these beautiful little things that he played with as a child, that we all have. I used to have a blanket that I was carrying with me until a couple of years ago. For the whole of my life, I used to carry this blanket that my grandmother used to wrap me in when I was a baby. I had it with me for the longest time until one day, I don't know for what reason, but I did not need it anymore. And I'm just reminded of it because I haven't thought of it for a long time. That was the blanket that I carried with me. I used to put it like over my eyes instead of the eye thing that you put over your eyes at night to be able to keep the light outside of the room. When I was traveling, I would take it with me. When I was traveling to teach to all these festivals internationally, that was my safety blanket. That was a significant object that was given to me from my grandmother, who passed a long time ago, but who raised me when I was a child. So the same with this actor that I was telling you about. He brought all these little teddy bears, he put them around his bed, so-called bed, that was now on the floor of the stage. The more that he was committing to those teddy bears of different sizes, the more he was able to let go of the fact there's an audience watching him, because the concentration will do that. If you concentrate on something specifically, that, they say, is the remedy for stage fright, the remedy for, oh my God, the audience is watching me and I don't know what to do. You don't want that as a great actor. If you're going to play for the audience, that means that you're trying to prove yourself to them. When if you concentrate on something specific and you're putting up the fourth wall, which means you're in the private moment, how can you be private in public, which is the whole trying of great acting, and you have to try it with every role for the rest of your life. He started talking to those teddy bears. He started talking to them, and to watch from the point of view of the audience member, this grown man completing and making us believe that he was actually in his own place, talking to these teddy bears, was such a powerful moment, because that shows vulnerability. That shows a revelation into himself that we don't see in everyday life. That is so intimate, and that takes such great courage to do, to show the vulnerability that even as a grown man, even as a grown woman, I need to have my safety blanket with me. Because it doesn't matter that we've grown up from the children playing with teddy bears or with a blanket. It doesn't matter. We all can identify with a great actor giving us a private moment such as the one I was describing. We can all then relate and identify with him in that moment, even though I'm not talking to teddy bears, but I have my safety blanket, which is the same to me as is for him the teddy bears that he's talking about. All of us have something if we only allow ourselves to think about it and to not be ashamed of it. So Prince Harry, again, who supposedly is an expert of therapy, because he's doing therapy, private therapy sessions all over. He's understanding of human condition. He's understanding of what it's like to be able to need to heal as a human being. So for him to say that he's understanding of that importance of the healing process, but then to go ahead against what he just said, to reveal a private moment from his father, King Charles, it's not something that you do without being called a hypocrite as a character. It's not something that you do without being called a liar, because that's what you are. You're saying one thing, you're saying, I understand this, but then I'm going to go. And guess what? It's not my father, the king, who decided to write a book and reveal his private moment. I'm going to do it for him. And I'm going to do the same thing about my brother, Prince William, and I'm going to do the same thing about my sister-in-law, Princess Catherine. I'll just reveal the private moments. As an acting teacher, I don't dare to reveal the names as you see right now. When I was telling you about the private moment of this extraordinary human being, actor, who had the bravery and the courage to come in front of us and to reveal such a specific insight into who he is as a grown man, still needing to go back to the child, which the child inside of us is the creator for all of us. Sometimes when you allow your imagination to have a conversation with the inner child, sometimes the inner child will lead you in everyday life more so than you can as the adult lead him or her. So for him to come in and to reveal his heart with such depth and admit, yes, there are moments when I need, as a grown man, to be talking to my childhood toys. But he revealed it. He made that decision. Now that I'm speaking to you and I'm describing to you that situation, I'm not going to give you his name. I'm not going to give you his name because that's not my right to give you his name. There are rules in acting. We cannot reveal personal gifts. We cannot reveal personal experiences that we might depend on, such as that one, to inform the character and to bring that vulnerability to the character, even if that moment might not be used in the play or in the film. As the character, the fact that the actor decided to bring it to the rehearsal in session of an acting session, of an acting class, he will be informed so much more of that vulnerability and intimacy and fears that he still has, then to be able to rely to overcome those fears by going back into the child as an adult and speaking to those teddy bears or speaking to those toys from the time when he was a child. Even if you don't demonstrate that in the final movie, that will inform him about the vulnerabilities of the character that might not be written in the script. So you bring already something that you, as a detector, as an actor detector, have found out during the private moment exercise that you can now take and bring to the character. For Prince Harry to be able to go and take all these private experiences, all these private moments from all these other characters in his life, the royal family. He could talk about himself all he wants. That's his prerogative. But to be able to go into all these other people and take what they shared with him with the belief that would be sacred since he was family. We as actors cannot reveal those private moments. I, as an acting coach, have been so grateful and privileged to have witnessed so many beautiful moments like that from so many actors, artists over the years that I've worked with. Am I ever going to reveal them and give names? No, I'm not going to, unless they specified and they talked about them. They spoke about them in a different situation than the circumstance of the acting session. But I usually do not usually, I don't say the names. I will talk about the experience, but I won't put a name on who has done that private experience, private moment. I cannot believe that actors are required to be more dignified. I'm talking about actors, not B-listers, not B-list celebrities. I'm talking about great actors. They are more dignified as people. They are required to be more dignified as people and have respect for themselves and for others. And when they do not, as characters, they will know the difference between when it is that they have a character, when it is that they don't have a character. They will still be aware of the difference between them. Unlike these real people, Harry and Meghan, revealing King Charles' most private experience he has as a human being of carrying a teddy bear, he still wants to go with the same strategy in bringing his son over to his side, immediately on the website, changing the titles of the two kids of Meghan and Harry. He's still playing to them. You have to stand up for your character. You have to protect your character. He needs to do the same. He needs to protect his character as king. He needs to protect his family, Prince William, Princess Catherine, Queen Camilla. You have to make choices in life that sometimes require a little bit more courage to stand with the people who stand for you. I'm starting to say, well, good for them. If they can get away with so much, then it's not their fault anymore. It's the people who give them that access. It's not them anymore. It's the rest of us who keep watching them. It's the rest of us who give them the opportunity to go on and lie and be hypocrites. How many times does somebody have to show you who they are? Wasn't it Maya Angelou who said, when somebody shows you who they are the first time, believe them? So going back to Tyler Perry, are you going to apologize now for what you said in Netflix? I don't want to go there because they call the family racist. They took back that they called the family racist. Are you going to apologize? Tyler Perry, is Oprah going to apologize for her reaction, which was so unbelievable? What? Again, who's going to believe you? The audiences are so much smarter than you people think us to be. Thank you so much. I cannot wait to watch the Oscars. Thank you for watching. Kisses.